Decision Financial Services. She is a taxing saving expert, more than 30 years experience in financial markets and financial services. And she's going to maybe help some of you parents get out of that money trap, the parent trap that you're stuck in, because almost half of Gen Z adults ages 18 to 27, according to a recent survey done by Bank of America, found that these Gen Zers are relying on financial assistance from their parents or other family members. Monika Hengesbach is with us now. She, again, is the CEO at Decision Financial Services. Monika, good morning.
Good morning. How are you?
I'm fine, thank you. So how much help are they helping significantly financially, the parents of Gen Zers helping? Are they paying for their living arrangements or just giving them a small stipend or I guess a little bit of everything?
You know, what's happening is these kids are coming back home from college and they're not able to afford housing or health insurance or any of those other items. So they're moving back home with their parents. The parents are keeping them on their own health insurance plan, so they're still paying for their children's premiums. They're on the automobile insurance. They're still on their cell phone bills. So if you add, you know, the additional cost of even housing, electricity, groceries, etc., it's starting to hit the parents pretty hard, and it's sort of hindering their ability to continue to save for their retirement.
Mm-hmm. How do parents get themselves out of the parent trap? Is it fair, do you think, for parents to put a deadline? I'll help you for another year, and then after that you're on your own, or you're on your own with your bills, regardless of what your situation is. Maybe the kid's going to have to go get another job. How do parents release themselves from the trap if they want to get out?
I think the way that they do is they take baby steps. So, for example, maybe their children, when their children get a job, they start buying their own groceries. I mean, if they're away for college, they used to do that when they were away from home. So have them start with just buying their own groceries. Then once they're done with that, have them start paying for their own cell phone, their own car insurance. Start to take these baby steps. Currently, I'm in the same boat. My daughter moved back home from school. Mm-hmm. And now what we're doing is I'm having her save what she would pay in rent out of her paycheck every month or the first of the month towards a savings account. So she gets used to the fact that I've lost that amount of money in my paycheck and I only have X amount to live off of. Just so she's getting used to what's going to be out there in the real world.
Right. Yeah, prepare for that. What about roommates, Monika? I mean, that used to be kind of when I was coming up and just getting started. I know the first few months I lived here, I wasn't crazy about it, but you had to have a roommate to help with some of the expenses. Do young people, Gen Zers, not do that so much anymore?
You know, what I've noticed is a lot of the Gen Zers are moving away from where their friend group is, and that the ones that are coming home, their friends are either already with roommates or maybe in a relationship and have moved in with a boyfriend or a girlfriend. And so the ones that are coming back home from college don't necessarily have that. And then there's also the fear of moving in with a complete stranger.
Yeah, we used to do that. I mean, but we used to do a lot of things that these days would be looked upon as being unsafe and just plain stupid. But you know, I did that a time or two. I wouldn't necessarily recommend that, but you know what I mean. I would think that some of these kids might have other acquaintances in similar situations. Well, let's just pool our resources and we'll move in and we'll live together and we'll share the expenses. That way, we're not sponging off our parents.
Well, you would think that they would do that, but, you know, this generation's a little bit different. And so they seem to come back home because the parents are also to blame as well. Mm-hmm. They're making it very easy for them. So they don't have to go out and really start searching for roommates or people in similar situations because they can just move back home and have the comforts of home and the security of home. And that's the other thing they're looking for, is that security and resources of mom and dad.
Yeah, because when you move out on your own, when you're just getting started, you're not gonna have as many of those amenities that you may have had living with your parents. I mean, because you can't afford them. You're going to be a little more scaled down in terms of how you're living, presumably.
Correct. And correct. And that's one of the things as well, is that even the emotional support they're looking for when they come back home. You don't have that when you're living on your own. I mean, yes, you can pick up the phone and call your parents, but you don't get to have them right there to like immediately be that safety blanket for you.
Let me ask you one last thing, Monica. If I'm a parent and I'm propping up my Gen Zer, and let's say that Gen Zer is living on their own, they got an apartment and I'm paying the rent, or at least a pretty good portion of the rent and some of the other expenses. Do you think it's wise or right for parents to scrutinize their child's expenses? In other words, if I'm paying part of your way, I may have a say in how many streaming services you subscribe to.
Oh, I definitely agree. I feel that there should be restrictions. If I'm paying part of your way, then you're going to have to share how your spending is going, and I have a right to tell you what you can and cannot spend your money. Which, mind you, is a great way for them to want to cut the ties with mom and dad because they want that freedom and they don't want their parents knowing where their money's going to.
Right. Yeah. Right. I mean, when I got home from school, I couldn't wait to get out. I mean, because I just thought that's what you did. Plus, I wanted to do it, and I saw friends of mine that were a year or two older than I was that were getting their own places, and that looked pretty cool to me. I kind of like that, so that motivated me.
Yes, I mean, I think it was a very different time. I know when I turned 18 and didn't know what I wanted to do when I grew up, my mother's like, okay, you owe me $300 a month rent. Well, $300 a month is not a lot, but to somebody who doesn't have a college education, hasn't found a job, and I'm like, what, you want $300?
Yeah, that's a lot.
No, that's okay. Yeah, that's a lot.
Yeah, but I mean, you're just getting started. That was a lot. And as you said, you didn't have a job. You didn't know where you were going to go. With your career, but it ended up working out for you, Monica.
It did, yes. And so I think that's what we need to do with our children, is start to get them on a budget, have them have some sort of idea of money. They don't get educated on that anymore in schools, and I really hope and pray that the school system brings that back in to teach kids at a young age what it means to be fiscally responsible.
Amen to that. Monika Hengesbach, who is a CEO at Decision Financial Services and a tax-saving expert. Monika, thanks very much for your time today and the advice.
Oh, you're quite welcome. Thanks for having me.
Thank you.